What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and I wanted to give you a little progress update because I feel like this could serve as a great lesson for anybody that's newer to eFootball and struggling, or maybe came into eFootball like I did several times and just said no way, because it is such a unique game. It can feel so off, especially if you've been playing FC your whole life like I have and like many people have, right? For the longest time, it was just FC. Even when PES back in the day kind of snuck in, it was only for a few years, and for the most part, outside of I'd say a cult following that stayed with Konami and PES all the way to the rebrand to eFootball, most players were at FC. And the thing with eFootball is that when you turn it on and you come in with, let's call it a FIFA brain or an FC brain or a mindset from that game, it's going to be a struggle for you, right? And so thank goodness that after 3-4 times of just trying to get into it, right? Because I would just see a little something in the game, then I get going, I'd say there's just no way. It's so far off of the feeling for FC. Some of the things that happen are you come in, you're way too slow moving because you're used to the movement in FC, and you get the ball stripped away from you 100 times, whether you're trying to dribble or pass. You can't even get chances to shoot. When you do, it's a different shooting entirely. You're maybe going for the finesse shots, or like you're used to maybe even power shots or whatnot. And even though they have all these player skills in eFootball, it's a lot less manual and more. It's a whole different system, right? Because it's pretty much AI driven. You get these certain skills, and then your player will have these skills be triggered automatically, right? So yes, you do manually trigger like a finesse shot or a chip shot or whatnot, but outside, that's about it. There is no L2 shoot for, a Trivela shot, right? Or there is no manually choosing a low-driven shot, all right? Or a power shot. The players do it manually. So just things like that, all these little different nuances. With the defending system, you have the pressure button, and then you have the AI assistance. But even that, you're holding down the pressure button thinking, okay, this is how I have to defend. However, if you just do that, you're going to get, slice and dice, because players are just going to pass right around you. So then getting used to being patient and truly defending just like you would in real football. You have to think about that. But in FC, it's such an arcade feeling, just with more manual controls, that you can come in and just have this totally warped mindset that throws you off since you've been playing FC. Even though eFootball is a more realistic game, even though it's so much more satisfying as you get the hang of it, a lot of players don't even get to that point where they can see how good it is. So hopefully this serves as a lesson. If you go back, you can see my games and just how far back I was and how far I've came. The fact that I'm in double-digit wins in Division 3 when, as you know, or maybe some of you might not, in eFootball, Division 3 is essentially like Elite Division, because you can play everybody all the way up Division 1. You're just going for a higher, like an ELO rank, to get you to Division 2 or Division 1, but you all play each other. So you're playing some absolute beast opponents, and for the longest time, I think the best I did before this was like 6 wins. And then some of those games, too, in the loss or draw column could have easily been wins outside of just some mistakes that I made. So that's the best feeling, is that I'm not just getting destroyed, right? Even some of the scores like a 4-2 or a 4-1, if I just would have cleaned up some areas, I was fine. I haven't played opponent yet. I played one, the number 2 player in the world at some point. I had played him, and I say at some point because they show you the badge from previous seasons. And he just thrashed me, but it took him a while. It's not that I was getting any chances or having any of the play, but to be a number 2 in the world, anytime in eFootball, for me to be like, I was at that time only like a couple weeks in, and still be able to compete, it was very promising. And so that's why I've stuck with the game. Even though I hate the meta, even though sometimes the game can drive you crazy, I don't have much lag, but I do sometimes, and I know a lot of players have it all the time, so I feel for them, because even the slightest lag or command delay in eFootball, because of such an AI-driven game and less manual control, it just destroys the game. So it's not perfect, but again, for me, it's few and far between when I personally experience lag. I will say that a lot more people talk about it, so it seems like I might just be lucky with my location. It's just the meta is a very tight, narrow formation where players are running at you 100 miles an hour, and you have to get used to that faster movement. You have to get used to knowing what you want to do with the ball, not as it gets to you, but before it gets to you. But then, once you start getting the hang of it, you start finding success, especially against these other God squads. And I say other because I put money in to have a God squad as well. And but once you get the hang of it and you start realizing I can compete with these teams, even the ones going all out meta, constantly looking to rush you, constantly looking for through balls, and I'm doing better and better, right? I'm not going to say that I've mastered it where those players have to worry about playing me, at least not all of them. Some of them I can whoop now. Others can still get my number even if I'm maybe the better footballer. But I'm happy to say that you absolutely can improve and start beating everybody, including those meta, let's call them meta rats, because it's just a nicer name in eFootball. They hide behind, it's tactics, it's a play style, but really, let's be honest, it's like if you're coming from FC, the pressure tactics back in the day, it's like UFL putting it on constant pressure. It's essentially what quick counter combined with the pressure tactics holding R1 and X with a very narrow formation where the opponent doesn't have much room to play the ball through. I mean, that's what that is. It's like the constant pressure type of tactic, and that's widely known as being ratty. The football you see when these players with this meta are playing, you can tell it's just not football. I mean, one of the reasons why I was okay with putting money in is because Konami did a fantastic job making these legends in game true to how they played in real life, and that's how I like to utilize them. I mean, I am playing a football game. I want to get better skill-wise, and this is absolutely a game where you can put the time in, get better skill, and feel rewarded from it. That's not always the case, right? So I would say the biggest disappointment, as I've said a few times, is that as you're working to get better and you're gaining more and more skill, you're still going to face that opponent, especially the higher up you go, that doesn't really have much soccer sense, but because of the meta, this pressure meta, they're able to essentially stay in games and even win games despite being dominated as far as like the movement goes to build up the footballing decisions. They'll just get enough chances with win the ball through ball, or even tackle backs, which if you play, you know this. If not, there's like a cooldown period, which they actually, FC needs to take notes, meaning if the attacker gets the ball stolen, just because of how the mechanics work, both in this and FC, you don't want the attacker to be able to win it right back because essentially they're getting rewarded for bad attacking, or the defense is getting punished for defending well because they'll win a tackle and the opponent can get it back. So they have a cooldown period in eFootball. However, sometimes because you might win a tackle going backwards and then go to turn and play a pass in the positive direction, by then the cooldown period ends, boom, attacker might get it back. Or there might be an attacker nearby. You win the tackle, and they just kind of run through your defender. And there's nothing you can do about it because it happens so quick. So there's definitely a few quirky things, but like I said, with that cooldown period, it's clear Konami is trying to deal with that kind of stuff. So my biggest thing, I've always said this game has so many amazing details, so much content can be made, but then they'll be lacking in like game modes. The way I describe it, it would be like if Konami was a math student, they would be a master at trigonometry, but they couldn't do their times tables, right? That's what it feels like all the intricacies, all the little details, the way they incorporate managers and play styles in the way the AI operates, and so much more they do a great job at, but they can't get like a weekend champions mode or a draft, which would be incredible in eFootball, right? Things like that. Like they get all these details right, but they can't get sufficient rewards, or put in some kind of player earning system where now that's incorporated. There's certain players, including double boosted players, like the players you put the money in get, that you can earn as you're grinding the game. Even though I'm definitely a pay-to-win player with a pay-to-win credit card FC type of team, I am 1,000% pro earning, right? Pro grinding to get players, as opposed to pro swiping the card and you get all the players you want. Because it just takes away from those players who are playing this game all the time and busting their butt. And maybe some of them can't even afford even one of these double boosted players. They just have to use the regular players. But the way they grind the game, the way they're ambassadors for playing the game the right way, they deserve some of these incredible players. However, I get to come in a month in, swipe, and get these great players. Now, I will say when you look at my roster, Yes, I've spent a ton of money, so it's full disclosure. I'm never going to BS you. However, I look at it as an investment. Now that my team's all but complete, unless there's some incredible player, I'm essentially going to use like the 7 to 8K coins that I have right now, and then quietly just fall back and start, really mastering the gameplay, really mastering how each of my players I have currently play. So that's the beauty of it. Do I still think the price is way too high? Yes, but it is nice to know that you get these players always and that they're going to be great for a long time to come. Unless, tomorrow they release some bombshell where they're resetting rosters or something, which there's no way with all the money spent. But unless they did something crazy like that, you're always going to have like Totti. You're always going to have Pirlo, Beckenbauer, Alcantara, Rojo. I could go on and on and on. No matter if they are in my team now, next year, 2 years from now, they're going to be in the game and they're going to be top players. So when you look at that, right, and let's say I've spent about 600, let's just say roughly, and I'm not saying that's even that far off, but that's about 6 years worth of just buying the regular, or not the regular, ultimate edition of FC, and that's not including any points you might put in. So the point is that you either have to look at it and say, no way, that's a ripoff, I'm free to play all the way, or you put in a few bucks here and there, maybe, depending on what your budget is, or you go all out like me, because my biggest thing is I love all these legendary players, right? And being able to not just have to watch highlights or go play FC where they butcher most, I'm not going to say every, I'll give them credit where credit's due, but most legends, they just absolutely butcher, and Konami has them spot on. So getting a chance to play with all these legendary players and really build a team around all the players that I've had based on really timing, right? I needed like a full squad, so just about any box that came out had a player or players that I needed, and so I got them, right? But make no mistake about it, I've lost to plenty of free-to-play teams, including one very good one in this highlights. I either tied them or lost by a goal, but the point is that as you get better, you absolutely can play free-to-play and still compete. So I want to end this by saying, please try eFootball. You will not regret it if you've given it a chance, but didn't fully embrace that fresh mindset, a clean slate, no thinking about FIFA, nothing at all. Just learn eFootball for what it is. Learn all the commands. Slowly but surely move up. Enjoy your time learning. Don't just look to rush through the AI parts of the division just to get to, PvP, because when you do that, you'll come in, you'll be shell-shocked. Work on everything. Watch videos, whether it's mine or somebody else's. The thing I'll say about mine is they're really geared towards those players coming from the outside. Just because a lot of this stuff, either, seasoned eFootballers will know, or I just wouldn't have to go into as much detail comparing it to these other games. But I think that's a good way for players from other games to kind of connect, sort of, oh, that's what this is. This is similar to Second Man Press in FC, or this is similar to a Power Shot, or whatever. Talking about those similarities really helps some players. So it's a win-win to try the game because it's free to download. Worst case scenario, you played some football while trying a new game, you didn't like it, you go back to FC or UFL or whatever game or games you're playing. But it's a win-win because if you do like it, you now have a free game to enjoy your football gaming experience, right? You can't beat that. Having multiple games, it also keeps these developers needing to do very well. They can't shortchange us on what they provide us. And it's just a totally unique experience that you don't feel like if you play FC, you're coming over and playing the same type of, just another football game. No, totally different experiences. So with that being said, keep grinding, keep having fun. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm out.